Gabriel had long been a man of influence, a name that resonated within the boardrooms of the city's sprawling financial district. His penthouse, perched atop one of the tallest skyscrapers, was a testament to his success. With its floor-to-ceiling windows offering breathtaking views of the skyline, it was both a sanctuary and a prison, filled with the trappings of luxury, expensive art pieces, a state-of-the-art kitchen, and a collection of rare wines that would impress even the most discerning connoisseur. Yet as he stood in his spacious living room, the sun casting golden rays across the polished wooden floors, Gabriel felt an unsettling emptiness gnawing at him. He glanced at the meticulously arranged furniture, each piece a symbol of his hard work and ambition, but the satisfaction they once brought him had faded. It was as if the more he acquired, the less fulfilled he became. His phone buzzed incessantly with notifications from his business empire, and though he was regarded as a titan in his field, a sense of disconnection hovered over him like a dark cloud. Another meeting, another deal, he muttered to himself, adjusting his tailored suit in the reflection of a nearby mirror. He brushed a hand through his perfectly styled hair, but the familiar routine felt monotonous. The world outside his window bustled with life, people rushing to work, parents dropping off children at school, and street vendors selling their wares. It was a stark contrast to his insulated existence, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something vital. As Gabriel slid into the driver's seat of his sleek black luxury car, he prepared for a day filled with corporate negotiations. The engine roared to life, a sound that should have exhilarated him, yet it only deepened the sense of longing that had become a constant companion. He navigated the city streets, his mind preoccupied with projections and profits, until he found himself halted at a red traffic light. The hum of the engine faded as he gazed out the window, momentarily detached from the world of finance that consumed him. That was when he saw him, a small figure perched on the sidewalk, clutching a cardboard sign that read, "Please help. Anything is appreciated." The boy couldn't have been older than 10, his clothes tattered and dirty, his eyes wide and pleading. His hair was unkempt, and despite the harshness of his surroundings, there was an innocence in his gaze that struck Gabriel like a lightning bolt. It was a sight that was all too common in the city, yet today it pierced through Gabriel's indifference. Look at him, he thought, a pang of guilt washing over him. What must his life be like? The light turned green, and the fleeting moment of connection threatened to slip away. Gabriel's hand hovered over the gear shift, but he hesitated. Something inside him urged him to take action. He rolled down his window, the rush of air whipping through the car, and leaned out slightly, trying to gauge the boy's demeanor. "Hey there," Gabriel called, his voice surprisingly steady. The boy looked up, startled at first, but then a flicker of hope ignited in his features. "Do you need some help?" "Yeah, sir," the boy replied, his voice small but clear. "I'm just trying to get some food for me and my mom." There was a sincerity in his tone that resonated deeply with Gabriel. She lost her job a few weeks ago and it's been hard. Gabriel's heart tightened as he studied the boy's face. There was a maturity in his eyes that seemed far beyond his years, a depth of understanding that belied his youthful appearance. "What's your name?" Gabriel asked, feeling an unexpected connection forming. "Jason," the boy replied, a hint of pride in his voice. "What's yours?" "Gabriel." He paused, feeling an urge to know more. "What do you want to be when you grow up, Jason?" The boy's expression shifted, a spark igniting in his eyes. "I want to be a scientist. I love learning about space and how things work. I want to help people, you know?" Gabriel was taken aback. Here was this child living on the streets, yet his dreams soared among the stars. "A scientist, that's incredible. What kind of things do you want to discover?" "I don't know yet," Jason admitted, a shy smile breaking through his somber expression. "But I want to make things better for everyone, like finding new medicines or helping to clean up the planet." The sincerity of Jason's aspirations struck a chord within Gabriel. He had spent years chasing after wealth, yet here was a boy who, despite his circumstances, held tightly to dreams that were not only grand, but selfless. "You're really smart, Jason. I believe you can do it," Gabriel said, genuinely impressed. "Have you thought about school? What are you learning?" "I used to go to school," Jason recounted, his voice tinged with nostalgia. "But I had to drop out to help my mum. She's been really sad and stressed, and I wanted to do my part." His words were filled with a mixture of determination and resignation, a child's innocence overshadowed by adult burdens. Gabriel felt a lump form in his throat. The boy's life was so far removed from his own privileged upbringing, yet they shared a common thread of humanity. "I can help you, you know. I can give you some money for food," Gabriel offered, reaching into his pocket. "Thank you, sir, but it's okay," Jason replied, shaking his head. "I just need to help my mom right now. It's more important." There was a humility in his response that left Gabriel momentarily speechless. He had expected the boy to jump at the opportunity, yet here he was, prioritizing his family's needs over his own. The light turned yellow, signaling that it was time for Gabriel to move on. He felt an inexplicable urge to linger, to learn more about this boy who had momentarily shifted his perspective. "Listen, Jason," he said, determination lacing his voice. "You have dreams, and you shouldn't give up on them. If you ever need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out." Jason nodded, a glimmer of hope sparking in his eyes. "Thank you, Gabriel, I won't forget this." As Gabriel shifted the car into gear and drove away, he couldn't shake the weight of Jason's words. The boy's dreams and struggles lingered in his mind, leaving a mark that felt both profound and unsettling. He looked in the rearview mirror, catching one last glimpse of Jason, small and vulnerable against the backdrop of the bustling city. The encounter stirred something within him, a longing to bridge the gap between their worlds. Gabriel's heart raced as he navigated the crowded streets, his mind a whirlpool of thoughts. The business meeting ahead suddenly felt trivial compared to the reality faced by Jason and countless others. He had always prided himself on his ability to impact the world through his wealth, but the boy's story forced him to confront the truth. Money alone could not bring meaning to life. As he arrived at his destination, the weight of his responsibilities bore down on him. He stepped into the building, greeted by the familiar faces of his colleagues, but the conversation felt hollow. The deals, the numbers, the projections, they all paled in comparison to the fleeting connection he had just experienced. Gabriel found himself questioning the very foundation of his existence. Was he truly living, or merely existing in a gilded cage? In that moment, he realized that the world outside his penthouse, so vibrant and full of life, was also filled with stories like Jason's, stories he had ignored in his relentless pursuit of success. The boy's resilience stirred a sense of urgency within him, a desire to make a difference that transcended the confines of his wealth. Gabriel knew deep down that he could not let this encounter slip away without taking action. With newfound determination, he resolved to seek out Jason again, to understand more about his life and the struggles faced by those who lived in the shadows of his own opulent world. Gabriel was on the brink of a transformation that would redefine his understanding of wealth and purpose, and as he sat through the meeting that afternoon, he couldn't shake the feeling that his life was about to change in ways he had never anticipated. As the sun hung low in the sky, casting warm hues over the bustling streets, Gabriel found himself captivated by the boy, sitting cross-legged on the sidewalk. Jason, his small frame draped in a tattered hoodie, held a cardboard sign that read, "Anything helps." The words were scrawled in shaky letters, but they conveyed a powerful message that echoed through Gabriel's mind long after he had rolled down his window. The brief interaction had shaken something deep within him, igniting a flicker of empathy he had long buried beneath layers of success and wealth. "Do you live around here?" Gabriel asked, his voice softening as he leaned closer to the window, the hum of the city fading into the background. Jason looked up, his bright eyes sparkling with a mix of hope and caution. "Yeah, I live just a few blocks down. It's not great, but it's home," he replied, his voice steady despite the tremors of uncertainty that clung to the edges of his words. "What about your mom? Is she with you?" Gabriel inquired, trying to piece together the boy's reality. "She's at home trying to find work," Jason said, his expression shifting slightly, betraying a hint of worry. "She says it's tough out there, but she's trying her best." Gabriel felt a pang of guilt wash over him. Here he was, a millionaire, driving a luxury vehicle, while this boy's mother was struggling to make ends meet. "Do you help her?" he asked, genuinely curious. "I do what I can," Jason replied with a shrug, his confidence dimming. "I watch my little sister while she goes out. Sometimes I sell lemonade or help people carry groceries. It's not much, but it helps." The boy's resilience struck a chord within Gabriel, stirring memories of his own childhood, when he had envisioned a future filled with possibilities. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" he asked, hoping to lighten the mood. Jason's face brightened, the flicker of enthusiasm illuminating his features. "I want to be a scientist," he declared, his words tumbling out with an eagerness that was infectious. "I love nature and how things work. I want to discover new things, you know. Maybe find a way to help people with all the problems we have in the world." Gabriel could hardly believe the depth of the boy's ambition. Here was a child, barely 10, harboring dreams that transcended the confines of his circumstances. "That's an amazing dream, Jason. What kind of scientist?" "Biology, I think," he replied, his eyes shining as he spoke. "I want to study plants and animals. There's so much we don't know about them. I want to make the world a better place, like how people help each other. You know?" Gabriel nodded, deeply moved by Jason's vision. The boy's dreams echoed the aspirations he had once held dear, but had long since buried beneath the weight of corporate ambition. He felt a connection forming, an invisible thread linking their lives despite the vast chasm of wealth and privilege that separated them. The light turned green, and the cacophony of honking horns and revving engines jolted Gabriel from his reverie. He hesitated, his foot hovering over the accelerator. I have to go," he said reluctantly, feeling a sense of urgency to act, to do something meaningful. "Wait!" Jason called out, reaching for the window as Gabriel began to roll it up. "Can you help my mom? She really needs a job. You look like someone who knows people." Gabriel's heart sank. He wanted to promise the boy he would, but he knew that the world was not so simple. "I'll think about it, Jason," he replied, forcing a smile that felt heavy on his lips. "Just keep dreaming, okay?" With that, he drove away, the image of Jason fading in the rearview mirror. Yet the boy's words lingered in his mind like a haunting melody. The encounter had left him unsettled, prompting a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions he had suppressed for far too long. As he navigated through the city streets, Gabriel's mind raced with reflections on his own life. He had built a successful empire, yes, but at what cost? The faces of his employees, the demands of his clients, the endless pursuit of profit. Had they dulled his sense of purpose? He recalled the boy's earnest ambition and the warmth of his laughter. Jason had reminded him of a time when he dared to dream without the constraints of societal expectations. Once home, Gabriel sank into the plush leather of his couch, the silence of his penthouse amplifying the weight of his thoughts. He poured himself a glass of expensive whiskey, but the taste was bitter against the backdrop of the day's events. He thought of Jason's mother, the struggles she faced, and the resilience she instilled in her son. The contrast between their lives felt like a chasm that he could no longer ignore. "Why am I so disconnected from the world?" he murmured to himself, staring out at the city skyline. The twinkling lights of the buildings seemed to mock the emptiness he felt inside. He had everything he could ever want, yet here he was, grappling with the realization that true fulfillment lay beyond wealth. The thought of Jason's dream lingered in his mind, a beacon of hope in the fog of his existential crisis. Gabriel picked up his phone and scrolled through his contacts, his heart pounding as he contemplated making a call that could alter the trajectory of his life. Maybe I could mentor him, he thought, a spark of inspiration igniting within him. Help him see his dreams come true. As the night deepened, he realized that the encounter with Jason had been more than just a fleeting moment. It was a catalyst for change. He needed to step outside the confines of his luxurious bubble and engage with the world in a meaningful way. Perhaps he could start by visiting the neighborhood Jason called home, learning more about the challenges faced by families like his. Gabriel took a deep breath, feeling a sense of determination wash over him. He couldn't let Jason's dreams fade away. He had to do something. And so he made a silent promise to himself. The next day he would seek out the boy again, not just to offer help, but to listen, to understand, and to connect. The clock ticked away as he made plans in his mind, envisioning a future where he could bridge the gap between their worlds. With a new sense of purpose, Gabriel finally allowed himself to drift into a restless sleep, his dreams filled with possibilities of what could be if he chose to embrace the humanity he had overlooked for so long. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow across the city, Gabriel sat in his lavish penthouse, the plush leather of his armchair embracing him like an old friend. Yet, amidst the opulence that surrounded him, the gleaming marble floors, the expensive artwork adorning the walls, and the breathtaking view of the skyline, he felt an unsettling emptiness in the pit of his stomach. The conversation he had with Jason lingered in his mind like a haunting melody, echoing memories of dreams long forgotten. He leaned back, closing his eyes, and let the sounds of the city wash over him. The distant honking of cars, the chatter of pedestrians, and the rumble of the subway beneath his feet seemed to blend into a symphony of life. Yet even as he listened, he couldn't shake the image of Jason's earnest face, the way his eyes lit up when he spoke of wanting to become a scientist. It was a stark contrast to the life Gabriel had built for himself, a life filled with wealth yet devoid of genuine connection. "Why do I feel this way?" Gabriel muttered to himself, running a hand through his perfectly styled hair. "I have everything I've ever wanted." But even as he spoke the words, he knew they rang hollow. His success, measured in bank accounts and business deals, had come at a cost. He had sacrificed friendships, lost touch with family, and neglected the deeper values that once guided him. Suddenly, he stood up, pacing the room as frustration bubbled within him. "Is this all there is?" he questioned, his voice rising in the stillness. "Is this what I worked so hard for?" He thought of his childhood, filled with dreams of discovery, adventure, and making a difference in the world. Those dreams had been edged out by the relentless pursuit of money and status, and now they felt like distant echoes, muffled by the clamor of his daily existence. With a sudden decision, Gabriel grabbed his jacket and headed for the door. The night air was cool against his skin as he stepped outside, a sharp contrast to the warmth of his penthouse. He climbed into his sleek car, the engine roaring to life beneath him, and drove without a destination in mind. The streets blurred past, a montage of lights and shadows, but his mind was fixed on one thought: Jason. After a short drive, he arrived at the intersection where he had met the boy. The traffic light was still there, the same one that had paused him in his tracks that fateful day. But the street was now empty, the only remnant of his encounter, a few tattered pieces of paper littering the sidewalk. Gabriel pulled over, the engine idling softly as he stepped out and looked around. "Where are you, Jason?" he whispered, half hoping the boy would appear as if summoned by his longing to understand. He took a deep breath, letting the crisp night air fill his lungs, and walked a few steps down the block, his eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of the boy. "Excuse me," he called out to a man leaning against a lamppost, his face obscured by darkness. "Do you know where I can find a boy named Jason? He was begging here a few days ago." The man shifted, revealing a weathered face. "Jason? Yeah, I know him. Lives a few blocks down with his mom. You looking to give him something?" Gabriel hesitated, feeling the weight of his intentions. "I just want to talk to him. I'd like to help if I can." The man nodded slowly, a hint of curiosity flickering in his eyes. "A lot of folks come by here, but not many actually care. You sure you're ready for that?" Gabriel felt a pang of uncertainty, but he squared his shoulders. "I am. I want to understand." "All right then," the man said, gesturing with his chin down the street. "Head that way, then take a left at the corner. You'll find him." "Thank you," Gabriel replied, determination surging within him as he set off down the street. Each step felt heavier than the last, the reality of the boy's life weighing on his conscience. As he walked, the sounds of the neighborhood enveloped him. Children laughing, the distant sound of music, and the smell of something sizzling from a nearby food cart. The vibrancy of the community was palpable, yet it was laced with an undercurrent of struggle. Gabriel's heart raced as he turned the corner and spotted a small, crumbling building that looked like it had seen better days. He approached cautiously, his mind racing with thoughts of what he might find. Would Jason be there? Would he see the same spark in the boy's eyes that he had seen at the traffic light? Gabriel knocked on the door, his pulse quickening as he waited for a response. The door creaked open, revealing a woman with tired eyes but a warm smile. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice soft yet strong. "Is Jason here?" Gabriel asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "Who's asking?" she replied, her gaze scrutinizing him. "My name is Gabriel. I met Jason a few days ago and I wanted to see how he's doing," he explained, feeling the weight of her stare. She studied him for a moment, then stepped aside. "Come in. He's in the back." Gabriel entered, the small space filled with the scent of cooking and the sounds of a television murmuring in the background. He glanced around, taking in the sparse furnishings and the modest decor. It was a stark contrast to the life he led, and it struck him deeply. "Jason!" Maria called out, her voice echoing through the narrow hallway. "You have a visitor!" Moments later, Jason appeared, his face lighting up with recognition as he saw Gabriel. "Mr. Gabriel!" he exclaimed, running towards him. "I didn't think I'd see you again." Gabriel knelt down to Jason's level, a smile breaking across his face. "I wanted to check on you, buddy. How have you been?" "I've been okay," Jason replied, his voice a mix of excitement and caution. "I'm still trying to figure out how to build that rocket I told you about." Gabriel chuckled, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. "That's great. I'd love to hear all about it." As they spoke, Gabriel noticed the way Maria watched them, a mixture of hope and worry etched on her features. He felt an urge to bridge the gap between them, to offer not just words, but action. "Jason," he said, his voice steady, "I want to help you with your dreams. What do you need? Books, supplies? I can help with that." Jason's eyes widened, and he glanced at his mother, who looked both surprised and guarded. "Really? You mean it?" "Of course," Gabriel replied, feeling a surge of purpose. "I believe in you. You have a bright future ahead." Maria stepped forward, her voice trembling slightly. "I appreciate that, Mr. Gabriel, but we don't want charity. We just want to get by." Gabriel nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "I'm not here to give charity. I want to invest in potential. You and Jason deserve every chance to succeed." A moment of silence hung in the air, the gravity of his offer sinking in. Gabriel could see the flicker of hope in Jason's eyes and the cautious optimism in Maria's expression. "Let's make a plan," Gabriel continued, his resolve strengthening. "I want to be involved. I want to understand your needs and see how I can help." With that, a new chapter began to unfold, one not just for Gabriel but for Jason and Maria as well. It was a path towards connection, empathy, and the realization that true wealth was not measured by dollars and cents, but by the impact one could have on another's life. As Gabriel stepped out of his sleek black sedan, the sounds of the bustling city faded into a distant hum. He was now standing in a neighborhood that felt worlds apart from his own luxurious penthouse. The sun was beginning to dip below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the dilapidated buildings and cracked sidewalks. Graffiti adorned the walls, vibrant yet haunting, telling stories of dreams deferred and hope against hope. A chill ran down his spine as he took in the scene, an unsettling mixture of resilience and despair. He adjusted his tailored suit, suddenly aware of how out of place he looked against the backdrop of this community. As he walked down the uneven sidewalk, he felt the eyes of the residents upon him. Some were curious, others indifferent, and a few wary. He had come here with a purpose, but as he approached the small, weathered house where Jason lived, he felt a tinge of anxiety grip his chest. Knocking on the door, Gabriel's heart raced. He had no idea how Jason's mother would react to a stranger, even one who had shown kindness to her son. Moments later, the door creaked open to reveal a woman in her mid-30s, with tired eyes and a face that bore the marks of too many sleepless nights. Her hair was pulled back in a loose bun, and she wore a simple faded blouse. "Can I help you?" Maria asked, her voice cautious yet curious. "Hi, I'm Gabriel," he replied, extending his hand in greeting. "I met Jason the other day at the traffic light. I wanted to check in on him and see if there's anything I can do to help." Maria studied him for a moment, her expression a mix of suspicion and hope. Finally, she stepped aside, gesturing for him to enter. "Come in." The interior of the house was small and modest, with a mismatched assortment of furniture. A faded rug lay on the floor, and the walls were adorned with a few family photos capturing moments of joy amidst the struggle. Gabriel felt a pang of guilt as he took in the simplicity of their lives, a stark contrast to his own opulence. "Jason!" Maria called out. "Come here, please." Moments later, Jason bounded into the room, his eyes lighting up as he spotted Gabriel. "Mr. Gabriel, you came?" Gabriel knelt down to meet Jason's gaze. "Of course I did. I wanted to see how you're doing. Your mum told me you're a great student." "Yeah, I want to be a scientist," Jason beamed with pride. "But it's hard to study sometimes," Maria interjected, her voice tinged with concern. "We don't have a lot of resources here. The schools are underfunded, and I'm struggling to make ends meet. I wish I could do more for him." Gabriel felt a deep sense of responsibility wash over him. He had come here to extend a helping hand, but he hadn't fully grasped the gravity of their situation until now. "What do you need the most?" he asked, his tone earnest. Maria hesitated, glancing at Jason before speaking. "There are so many things. Materials for school, a better place to live, job opportunities. But most of all, Jason needs encouragement. He has dreams, but sometimes it feels like they're too far away." Gabriel nodded, absorbing her words. "I understand. I want to help. I might not have all the answers right now, but I can try to make a difference." Jason's eyes widened with excitement. "Really? You want to help us?" "Absolutely," Gabriel said, smiling. "I'd love to help you with your studies, maybe even find some resources to improve your school, and I can connect with some organizations that might be able to assist your community." Maria looked at him, her expression softening. "You don't have to do this. We're just a small family." "I know," he replied, his voice steady. "But I've realized that wealth isn't just about money. It's about making an impact. And I'd like to start here, with you and your community." The sincerity in his voice resonated with both Maria and Jason. A flicker of hope sparked in Maria's eyes as she considered the possibilities. "If you're serious about this, it could mean a lot for us." "Then let's make it happen," Gabriel said, his resolve strengthening. "I'll start by making a donation for school supplies and look into setting up some tutoring sessions. I want to help Jason pursue his dream." Jason's face lit up, and he rushed forward to embrace Gabriel, who was momentarily taken aback by the child's exuberance. The warmth of that simple gesture filled him with purpose. He felt alive in a way he hadn't felt in years, as if he were finally tapping into something meaningful. "Thank you, Mr. Gabriel," Jason exclaimed, stepping back with a grin. "I can't wait to learn more." As they discussed potential plans, Gabriel's mind raced with ideas. He envisioned creating a community space where kids could gather, study, and share dreams. He thought about organizing workshops and job fairs to connect residents with opportunities. The more he spoke with Maria about their needs, the more he realized how interconnected everything was. "Is there a community center nearby?" he asked, intrigued. "No," Maria replied, shaking her head. "There used to be one, but it closed down years ago. We don't have a place to gather, to support each other." Gabriel frowned, his brows furrowing in contemplation. "That's a shame. A community center could serve as a hub for education and support." "What do you mean?" Jason asked, tilting his head. "I mean, I could help fund a new center," Gabriel said, his heart racing with excitement. "We could create a space where kids can learn, families can connect, and resources can be shared. It could transform this neighborhood." Maria's eyes widened, disbelief washing over her. "You'd really do that?" "I want to," he affirmed. "I've been so caught up in my own life that I lost sight of what truly matters. Helping you and this community could be the best investment I ever make." As they continued to brainstorm ideas, the atmosphere shifted. Laughter began to intersperse their conversations, and the walls that had once felt impenetrable started to crumble. Gabriel felt a sense of camaraderie growing between them, a bond forged from shared dreams and aspirations. "I can help with the planning," Jason exclaimed, enthusiasm bubbling over. "I have ideas for activities and classes." "Great. I'd love to hear them," Gabriel replied, leaning in closer, genuinely interested. Maria watched the interaction, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, Gabriel. You're giving Jason hope, and that's something we haven't had in a long time. Gabriel smiled, feeling a warmth radiate from within. It's just the beginning, Maria. I'll do everything I can to support you both. We'll make sure Jason has what he needs to succeed. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the room, Gabriel felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. He was no longer just a wealthy businessman. He was becoming part of something greater, a community looking for change, and he was ready to lead the charge. With newfound determination, Gabriel left the small house, promising to return soon with resources and plans. As he walked back to his car, he couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter had altered the course of his life. He was ready to step out of the shadows of his past and into a future defined not by wealth, but by impact and connection. As he drove away, the city lights twinkling in the distance felt like stars guiding him toward a new horizon, one filled with hope, purpose, and the promise of change. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the neighborhood, Gabriel stood at the entrance of the community center, observing the changes unfolding around him. The laughter of children mingled with the chatter of adults as they prepared for the community meeting he had organized. It was a stark contrast to the silence he often found in his luxurious penthouse, where wealth and isolation coexisted. He felt a warmth in his chest, a burgeoning joy that he had long thought was lost to the perpetual grind of business deals and high-stakes negotiations. "Hey, Mr. Gabriel," Jason's voice broke through his reverie. The boy raced toward him, a bright smile illuminating his face. "Are you ready for the meeting? Everyone is excited." Gabriel knelt down, meeting Jason at eye level. "I'm ready, buddy, but I think it's you who should be leading this meeting. You've got a great vision for this place." Jason beamed, clearly proud of the responsibility bestowed upon him. "I've been practicing what I want to say. I want everyone to have the chance to learn, just like you said." As they walked together into the community center, Gabriel felt a sense of purpose that he had never experienced in his corporate life. The center was transformed by the small donations he had made, new paint, bright banners, and even a few computers set up in a corner for children to learn and explore. He marveled at how a little effort could create such a vibrant atmosphere. Inside, the room buzzed with energy. Residents chatted excitedly, their faces animated. Maria, Jason's mother, stood at the front, welcoming everyone. She caught sight of Gabriel and waved him over. "Gabriel, thank you for coming. Everyone's been looking forward to this." "Thank you for organizing this, Maria," Gabriel replied, feeling a swell of gratitude. "You've done a fantastic job bringing everyone together." As the meeting commenced, Gabriel sat back and watched Jason take the lead. The boy stood on a small stool, his little hands gripping the edges as he looked out over the crowd. "Thank you all for being here." Jason's voice, though small, carried a weight that demanded attention. "I want to talk about our dreams and how we can make our neighborhood better." Gabriel felt a surge of pride as he witnessed the boy's confidence grow. Jason spoke passionately about the need for after-school programs, better educational resources, and a safe space for kids to play. The room responded with nods and murmurs of agreement, and Gabriel realized that Jason was not just a child begging on the street. He was a leader in the making. As the meeting progressed, residents shared their ideas and concerns. Gabriel listened intently, taking notes and contemplating how he could further support their initiatives. He suggested creating a mentorship program where local youth could learn valuable skills from professionals in various fields. The idea sparked enthusiasm among the attendees, and a sense of community began to take root. After the meeting concluded, Gabriel mingled with the residents, shaking hands and exchanging ideas. He felt invigorated by the genuine connections he was forging. As he chatted with a group of mothers, he caught sight of Jason, who was animatedly discussing plans with a few of his friends. "Look at him," a woman beside Gabriel remarked, a smile on her face. "He's really something, isn't he? He's got such big dreams for this place." Gabriel nodded, his heart swelling with admiration. "He does. It's inspiring to see how much hope he has." As the evening wound down, Gabriel found himself lingering. He felt a sense of belonging that was foreign yet comforting. It was as if he had stepped into a new chapter of his life, one filled with purpose and connection. But just as he was about to leave, his phone buzzed in his pocket. a stark reminder of the world outside this burgeoning community. "Excuse me for a moment," he said, stepping outside to take the call. The caller ID made his stomach drop. It was his business partner, Mark. "Gabriel, we've got a potential deal on the table that could bring in millions." Mark's voice boomed through the receiver, laced with excitement. "We need to act fast. This could be a game changer for the company." Gabriel's heart raced. He had spent years chasing deals like this, and the prospect of wealth beckoned to him like a siren song. Yet, as he stood under the dim streetlight, the sounds of laughter and hope emanating from the community center behind him, he felt a tug in his heart. "Mark, I need to think about it," he replied, his voice steady but laced with uncertainty. "This isn't just about the money for me anymore." "Gabriel, this is a huge opportunity. You've worked hard for this. Don't throw it away," Mark urged, frustration creeping into his tone. Gabriel took a deep breath, grounding himself in the moment. "I know, but I've seen something today that's making me reconsider my priorities. I need to do what's right for me, not just what's lucrative." As he ended the call, he felt a weight settle on his shoulders. The allure of wealth shimmered brightly, yet he was beginning to appreciate the richness of human connection and purpose. Turning back to the community center, he saw Jason, surrounded by friends, their laughter ringing out like music. "Gabriel," Jason called out, running toward him. "Did you hear everything we talked about? I think we can really make a difference." Gabriel smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. "I did hear, and I think you're right. Together we can create something amazing." But as the evening deepened, the call with Mark lingered in the back of his mind, a reminder of the duality in his life. He would have to make a choice soon, between chasing after wealth that felt increasingly hollow or committing to a purpose that filled his heart. The night air was cool against his skin, and as he stood among the community he had come to care for, he felt the pull of two worlds battling within him, wealth and purpose. Each path beckoned him, but only one resonated with the man he aspired to be. With each passing moment, he leaned closer to a decision that could redefine not only his own life, but also the lives of those around him. And in that quiet resolve, he sensed a transformation unfolding, one that had the power to reshape his understanding of what it truly meant to be wealthy. Gabriel sat at the edge of a wooden bench in the small park that served as a makeshift community center, his heart pounding with uncertainty. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows that danced across the ground, and he could hear the distant laughter of children playing. It was a stark contrast to the boardroom meetings and high-stakes negotiations that filled his typical days. He was here to meet Jason, the boy who had inspired him to reflect on his life's choices. Today, he needed the boy's insight more than ever. As he waited, Gabriel's mind raced with thoughts. He had been torn between his lucrative business opportunity, a deal that promised to skyrocket his wealth, and the commitment he made to the community, to Jason and his mother, Maria. He was caught in a web of ambition and purpose, uncertainty gnawing at him. What would it mean to abandon the community he had pledged to uplift for personal gain? "Mr. Gabriel," Jason's voice rang out, filled with youthful enthusiasm that made Gabriel smile. The boy rushed towards him, his sneakers scuffing the pavement, an old backpack slung over his shoulders. "You came." "Of course I did," Gabriel replied, standing up to greet him. "I wouldn't miss it for the world, buddy. I wanted to talk about the community and your ideas." Jason's eyes sparkled with excitement. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said last time, about how we can work together to make things better here. I've got some ideas." "Let's hear them," Gabriel encouraged, gesturing for Jason to sit beside him on the bench. Jason pulled out a crumpled notebook from his backpack, flipping through pages filled with doodles and notes. "Okay, so first, I think we need a place where kids can learn after school. A lot of us can't afford tutoring or even basic supplies. If we set up a study center here, we could help everyone do better in school." Gabriel nodded, impressed by the boy's insight. "That's a great idea, Jason. A space for learning could really change things. What else do you have?" "There's more. I've been studying how businesses run, like the strategies you talked about. If we could get local shops to sponsor the center, we could get money and supplies. And then we could have workshops where people learn skills to get jobs. It would help everyone." Gabriel's heart swelled with pride as he listened to Jason. The boy had a vision that was both practical and inspiring, and it reminded him of his own youthful dreams. You're absolutely right. Partnering with local businesses could create a sense of community ownership. What else do you think we could do? Jason paused, looking thoughtful. Well, I know my mom has been worried about rent. If we could start a community fund, maybe we could help families like mine. Just a little support could make a big difference. Gabriel's expression softened. He could see the weight of the world on Jason's small shoulders. You're wise beyond your years, Jason. We need to empower families, not just provide temporary help. If we built a community fund, we could create stability. Exactly, Jason exclaimed, his excitement palpable. And then we could have events, like a community fair. Everyone could come together, share food, and raise money for the fund. It would be fun and bring people closer. As they brainstormed, Gabriel felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was more than just a business venture. It was a chance to foster a community spirit that he had long forgotten in his pursuit of wealth. Jason's ideas flowed like a river, and Gabriel realized how much he had underestimated the boy's potential. Jason, he said thoughtfully, I want to help you make all of this happen, but I think we need to start with a plan. Let's outline these ideas and take them to a community meeting. I believe people will rally around you. The boy's face lit up. Really? You think they would? I know they would, Gabriel affirmed. You have a vision that others can get behind. We'll make this work together. As they continued to discuss their plans, Gabriel felt a warmth spreading through him. The boy's passion was contagious, but just as he was beginning to feel a sense of clarity, Jason's expression shifted. The boy looked pensive, as if he were holding back something important. Mr. Gabriel, Jason began hesitantly, there's something I need to tell you. Gabriel leaned in, sensing the gravity of Jason's words. What is it? Jason took a deep breath, his small hands fidgeting with the edges of his notebook. You know how you've been helping my mom and me? Well, there's more to my story. My mom used to be friends with someone named Lucas. Do you remember him? Lucas? Gabriel echoed, his heart racing. The name stirred memories buried deep within him. Childhood laughter, adventures shared, and a friendship that had faded with the years. Yes, I remember. We were close once, but we lost touch. Jason's eyes widened. Well, Lucas is my dad. He always talked about you, how you were going to be a big success. He was so proud of you. But then, things got hard. The revelation hit Gabriel like a thunderbolt. He felt the ground shift beneath him. Lucas is your father? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Yeah, Jason confirmed, a hint of sadness in his voice. After he passed away, my mom struggled. She always said you were someone who could help, but we couldn't find you. Until I saw you at the traffic light. Gabriel's mind raced as memories flooded back. He remembered Lucas's infectious laughter, the dreams they had shared as boys, and now here was his son standing before him, an unexpected connection that bridged their past and present. I had no idea, Gabriel said, his voice thick with emotion. I'm so sorry for your loss, Jason. Your dad was a great person. Tears shimmered in Jason's eyes, but he smiled through them. He always wanted me to have a better life. He wanted me to meet you. I think he would be happy to know you're helping us. Gabriel felt a profound shift in his heart. This wasn't just about community anymore. It was about legacy, about honoring the friendship he had with Lucas. I want to be a part of your life, Jason. I want to help you achieve your dreams and carry on your father's legacy. Let's make this happen together. The boy's face lit up, and in that moment Gabriel saw a glimmer of hope. A chance to rebuild not only the community, but also the connection he had lost so long ago. The weight of his previous decisions lifted, replaced by a newfound sense of purpose. As they embraced, Gabriel realized that true wealth wasn't measured by money or success. It was found in the bonds we forge, the lives we touch, and the legacies we create. And standing there with Jason by his side, he knew he was finally on the right path. Together they would change not just their lives, but the lives of many in their community, turning dreams into reality, one step at a time.